I heard it through the wall, my father's voice, low, certain, final. Your sister, she doesn't deserve a dime. She's out. And then the worst part, the silence, followed by my mother's smile. Not protest, not defense, just approval. I didn't say a word. I didn't let the floorboards creak. I just turned, walked down the hall, and made my decision. By the time dawn touched the curtains, every cent with my name on it was already gone. That was the moment they lost me, not because of what they said, because of what they revealed. You'd think betrayal comes loud with shouting and slammed doors. Mine came quiet. I used to believe my parents loved me in their own way. My father, the provider. My mother, the caretaker. My sister, their golden child. I convinced myself it was fine that she got more affection, more attention, more second chances. I thought being the responsible one earned me respect. But responsibility doesn't win you anything in a family that thrives on greed. It just makes you predictable and easy to steal from. The signs were there before that night. Documents missing from my desk. Bank mail opened before I touched it. My sister suddenly wearing clothes too expensive for her part-time paycheck. My father's casual questions about my salary, phrased like jokes but sharp with intent. I ignored it. I told myself I was paranoid. But hearing him say it out loud, "She doesn't deserve a dime," turned paranoia into certainty. I wasn't paranoid. I was prey. That night, I became something else. I didn't cry. I didn't confront them. I just sat at my laptop. Steady hands, calm breath. I transferred my money, every savings account, every certificate of deposit, every retirement contribution into new accounts under a trust. One signature, one firewall they could never break through. By sunrise, I was no longer vulnerable, and they had no idea. The weeks that followed were performance. I listened to my father brag about the investments he was making for the family's future. He spoke as if my accounts already belonged to him. My mother would glance at me, that sly smile on her lips, waiting for me to flinch. I never gave her the satisfaction. And my sister? She walked around with the arrogance of someone promised an inheritance she didn't earn. She dropped hints about the car she wanted, the house she'd live in, the trips she'd take. My future already spent in her head. I let them dream. What they didn't know was this: the will they were counting on had already been rewritten. Months earlier, after one too many jokes about me being the independent one, I'd gone to my lawyer. I made changes, quietly, thoroughly. I left everything to someone else, someone outside the family. The details didn't matter to them because they'd never imagined they'd need to know. By the time my parents discovered my trust, my accounts were untouchable. By the time they tried to lean on me financially, their credit had already begun to rot. I'd reported the accounts they siphoned in my name, unauthorized use. The debt they thought they'd hidden under me came roaring back with their signatures all over it. I didn't need to ruin them. I just needed to stop protecting them from themselves. The confrontation came sooner than I expected. One evening, my father cornered me in the kitchen. His voice shook, but his pride tried to hold. "Where's the money?" I looked him in the eye, calm, steady, the way a surgeon looks at a patient already on the table. Safe. His jaw clenched. "It's family money. You don't just walk away." That was the first time I laughed. "Family?" I said. "You already decided I was out." My mother stepped in then, her smile thinner now, desperate. "We didn't mean it. You know how your father talks." I set my glass down on the counter. The sound echoed in the silence. "You knew exactly what he meant. You always do." Her face cracked then, fear where smugness used to be. My sister stormed in, furious. "You're ruining everything. Dad promised." "Dad promised you my life," I cut in, "but it was never his to give." The fallout was brutal. Their creditors came knocking. The debts in their name swallowed their savings. The house they thought they'd secure with my money slipped through their fingers. My sister's big plans evaporated into smoke. And me? I watched from the outside, untouched. Every letter, every phone call, every desperate plea deflected. I was no longer their scapegoat. I was the wall they broke themselves against. I think back to that night often. My father's certainty, my mother's smile, the knife they thought they'd slid between my ribs. I let them believe they had me. I let them believe I was weak, predictable, theirs to use. But that night, when I moved my money, I moved something else. My loyalty, my forgiveness, my last tie to them. Now, when I see them, I don't feel anger. I don't feel pity. I